Good evening. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, and the time is 5 p.m. I will now call to order the meeting of the Victorville City Council and the same council sitting as the Victorville Library. Board of Trustees, are we getting an echo back?
Yes.
Yeah. Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the redevelopment agency, the sitting as a housing asset successor, the Joint Powers Finance Authority, and the Victorville Water District. Madam Clerk, will you kindly call the roll?
Councilmember Godin,
Present.
Councilmember Irving,
Here.
Councilmember Jones is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Here.
Mayor Becerra.
Here.
We have quorum.
It's not my.
Someone's Zoom is.
Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
No, Madam Mayor.
Shall we test this till my phone's off? Well, at least it's not on record or anything. Testing. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Nope, it's still there. Testing. Yeah, you could still hear it. Okay.
IT's working on it.
Okay. So we'll go to the city attorney. Mr. DeBernowski?
Here comes the man.
Thank you, Mayor Becerra. We have 4 items for closed session this evening. The first is real estate negotiations pursuant to Government Code 54956.8. The property is listed on the agenda, as are the negotiating parties. The other 3 items are all anticipated litigation. Items B and C are pursuant to Government Code 54956.9 D2, and providing information could jeopardize settlement discussions. The last item, anticipated litigation, is pursuant to Government Code 54956.9 D4, and at this point, we are deciding whether or not we'd want to initiate litigation. To the extent there is reportable action, we will report it at the conclusion of the closed session or at the commencement of the regular 6 o'clock session.
Thank you, sir. We are now in recess to closed session, and open session will resume at 6 p.m.
1, 2, 3, test.
Sounds clear here.
One, two, three, test. 1, 2, 3, test. One, two, three, test.
Not live. There we go. To everybody present, I apologize for our lateness. We had closed session. So at this time, good evening. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. The regular meeting of the following will come to order. The Victorville City Council and the same council sitting as the Victorville Library Board of Trustees, the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the redevelopment agency, the city as a housing asset successor, the Joint Powers Finance Authority, and the Victorville Water District. Madam Clerk, will you kindly call the roll?
Councilmember Godam,
Present.
Councilmember Irving,
Present.
Councilmember Jones is absent, Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Here.
Mayor Becerra.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you very much. For closed session announcements, I'll turn it over to Mr. DeBernowski.
Thank you, Mayor Becerra and council members. We had 4 closed session items this evening. First was real property negotiations pursuant to Government Code 54956.8, and the property is listed on the agenda, as are the negotiating parties. The other 3 items were anticipated litigation. The first 2 pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2. And with respect to those 2 items, that's item B and C, reporting information could jeopardize settlement discussions. The last was also anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D4. And with respect to that item, it was whether or not to initiate litigation at this point. And at this point, there is no reportable action with respect to any of those 4 items.
Thank you, sir. If you could please stand for our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation tonight will be led by Pastor Josh Lewis with Calvary Chapel Church, and our pledge will be led by Captain Randy German.
All right. Can you hear me? There we go. Cool. Well, from Calvary Chapel Victorville, we're honored that you've asked us to come and give this invocation. So with that said, let's bow our heads. Let's start with a word of prayer. Lord, we just thank you for this day. It's a beautiful opportunity we have to be gathered here. We thank you for this time that we have to have this town council meeting. We ask that everyone present here, Lord, that we would operate in truth, Lord, and that each person that you've appointed here would just do what you've called them to do, Lord, and that through all of this, that you be glorified through what you are doing in this great city, Lord. And we just ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to have presentation of new hires and promotions to the City Council. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Metzler. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item is an item that we now do quarterly. I'd certainly like to invite Ms. Heather Barber, our Human Resources Director, to the front to help administer the announcement of our new hires and promotions. Certainly, it's an opportunity for us to not only share this exciting moment in individuals' careers that work with us. We depend so heavily upon the skills and the talent that that we have here at the city, and certainly we've accomplished a lot, and you'll see even more of that in the presentation later. But that's because of the hard work and dedication from our new and existing employees. So we wanted to take this opportunity to recognize them by also introducing them to you here at a council meeting. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I'm here this evening to recognize our new hires and promotions for the months of October, November, and December. First, I would like to recognize the newest members of our city team. They will each be called to stand in front of the dais, presented with a pin, and then I would like to call you guys down for a photo with them. So we have Miss Vanessa Trevino. She is one of our admin interns with building. We have Eric Figueroa, also one of our interns with community services. Oh, thank you. Devin Bryson, one of our interns with finance. Nice. Good, how are you? Moses Medina, our last intern with code compliance. Joseph Rojas, water distribution worker with Public Works Water. And our last new hire, Candy Macias. She is our registered vet tech with code compliance. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for giving them their pins. Thank you very much. One more, uno más. Now I'd like to recognize the promotions that we had for October, November, and December. Same, I'm going to call you all up to the dais and then we will invite you to take a photo. Our first promotion, Mr. Adrian Garcia with Human Resources. He was promoted to a Human Resources Specialist. We have Daisy Kawasaki. She was promoted to a Senior Planner with Planning. Corinne Ramos. She was promoted to Finance Supervisor with Finance. Christian Dominguez. He has been promoted to Finance Manager with Finance. Gary Lewis has been promoted to City Surveyor in Engineering. Aaron Garcia has been promoted to Maintenance Worker with Public Works. Yesenia Salazar has been promoted to Code Compliance Technician with Code Compliance. Cassandra Erskine, promoted to Associate Planner with Planning. And our final promotion is Ashley Villagomez, promoted to Office Assistant with Building. And that is all of our promotions for October, November, and December. Thank you.
Yes. Heather, Mrs. Barber. I don't think she can hear me. Mrs. Barber. Heather Barber, when we start from the junior highs that we're hiring now, kids from the junior highs, those kids are young. Yeah, that's what they look like. As young as I'm looking old. Thank you. At this time, we're going to move on to, we also have a special presentation from the American Public Works Association 2024 Best Building Project of the Year Award. Again, Mr. Metzler, it's all you. Who you look, he's standing up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This is becoming a recurring theme, but it's no surprise, of course, because I get to witness firsthand all of the hard work and dedication of our employees and some of the amazing projects they do, not only for us, but for the residents here in the community as we expand services. So we have got another recognition. I'd like to invite Mr. Freddie Bonilla, our city engineer, to the podium, who can announce our latest recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. It's good to be back this year again with another Best Award. And as we've done in the past, I'm going to talk a little bit about the American Public Works Association and specifically about our project. So the APWA is a professional association of public works agencies, private companies, and individuals dedicated to promoting professional excellence and public awareness. In December of last year, we received the Southern California chapter's American Public Works Association Southern California chapter best project in the building category for the city's wellness center. This was a very, very competitive project selection because the APWA received a total of 97 entries from 53 agencies in the entire Southern California chapter, which includes the Inland Empire branch, the Metropolitan LA area, the Coachella Valley branch, and of course our High Desert branch as well. This is the second year in a row that we received a best award from APWA, and I'm very, very happy to be here. The Wellness Center rose from the city's Homeless Solutions Strategic Action Plan that was originally crafted by the Homeless Solutions Task Force and then approved by this city council in 2019. Since then, we've accomplished a few milestones that I just wanted to highlight real quick. In December of 21, we were notified that we received a $28 million home key grant from the California Department of Housing and Community Development. In March of 2022, our city council approved the phase 1 construction contract, and we broke ground the next month in April. As this council is aware, phase 1 pretty much dealt with the site grading, the underground utilities. Phase 2 ultimately was a vertical construction that was awarded in August of 2022. In June of 23, we actually awarded the 2 contracts for the operations of the Wellness Center. Those were to Simba Center and Hope to Mission. There are operators who operate the center. On December 8th of 2023, we hosted a groundbreaking ceremony where we allowed our general public to come in and tour the facilities. And then on December 12th, we actually opened it up and started operations at our center. Since that time, we have had over 100 individuals graduate the center into permanent housing. So we're very, very proud of that. As this was a multi-department award, I would like to call the other directors who helped me get this project to completion. That would be our city planner, Alex Jauregui, our building official, Joe Sleggers, our code enforcement officer, George Duran, and last but not least, our homeless solutions manager, Mr. William Lamas. Please join me in providing this award. Unfortunately, our APWA Best Award is actually locked up in our trophy case, so I had to bring the ones that we received from the American Planning Association, which Alex helped us get. So they'll have to serve for the Photoshop, or the photo opportunity, excuse me. So I apologize for that, but we did receive the award, and we're actually looking forward to submitting another application this year. Our facilities department is actually in construction with the library, and we feel that that is a very competitive project that's going to do well, and I hope to be back here next year for the
Here,
third year
Mr.
in a
Bonilla,
row.
I'll help you out. You can hold this up.
I got 2 replacement.
Yeah, there you
glass.
go. We'll hold this one too.
So if
Okay.
you don't mind me, can you please join me for our photo op, and maybe the other directors can join me as well?
Yes. Mr. Metzler. Please go down now with staff.
Yes, please.
Thank you, staff, for everything you do on a daily basis and getting us where we're at today. At this time, we're going to move on to one more presentation. Presentation by the city manager to the city council, 2024 year in review. Mr. Metzler, this is yours also.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor. I have a technical problem.
Her screen spot.
Thank you. Look on with you.
Yeah, we could share.
We'll share.
Look at, I was gonna open it up. I think he's got technical issues too.
Power is a magical button. You turn it on. I bet you it works now.
There you go.
Does,
She said you could work on Mr. Metzler. She'll follow on the paper copy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I'm pleased again to provide you with a review of 2024. This presentation has become an annual tradition for me with you, as it provides me with an opportunity to say not only Happy New Year, but also to reflect on many of our more significant accomplishments as a city over the last calendar year. For tracking purposes, our accomplishments are organized according to our strategic goals. And because we've had a lot of accomplishments, I certainly hope that you'll indulge me for the next few minutes as we get through this presentation. Fiscal sustainability is where I'll start. And so this year we continue to operate with a budget where we meet or exceed our reserve targets. In the case of our general fund and Measure P, we continue to exceed our reserve targets of 17% while growing our services to the community in the areas of public safety. While we mostly speak to our cash position when discussing fiscal sustainability, I have to recognize this year the significance of our employee support structure. With your continued support as the City Council, we've been able to focus on employee development that has allowed us to keep stability within the organization. It's because we've had a tradition of organizational stability, I do believe, that has contributed significantly to the fiscal health of this organization. In 2024, we expanded our executive leadership team by adding an added deputy city manager to increase efficiency and effectiveness. This transition was in preparation for Deputy City Manager Sophie Smith's retirement. We've also successfully transitioned members of the leadership team that have demonstrated the ability to lead the departments in a way that embraces our mission, vision, and values. I do believe this organization structure is structured in staff for continued success well into the future. Our city staff is extremely talented at applying for and winning grants, as you saw by the award that we just received. A lot of it also has to do with actually applying for and receiving grants. So listed here on this particular slide are a few of the grants that we received to support our strategic initiative, giving a particular note to the encampment resolution funds that we received well over $7 million just in the last calendar year to actually undertake a support to our community by addressing encampments and connecting those that are unsheltered with services, residential services. We've expanded public safety, which is our second goal, is to expand public safety. New animal care and control and adoption center. In December, we opened that facility. This is where staff refurbished the former Goodwill High School to serve as the home of our animal services in record time. About 1 year prior to the grand opening, we received a 30-day notice that our longtime animal shelter provider was going to close its operations. Our team jumped into action to operate animal care and adoption services at 2 existing facilities. This slide summarizes our annual our animal services team's incredible animal care and adoption efforts during that pivotal time. And so with that, you can see just shy of 2,400 microchips that we've issued. That's important because, of course, if dogs or animals do get out or get lost, having microchipped animals certainly makes it easier for us to reunite those animals with their owners. Of course, a number of return to owners, almost 400 return to owners. We've issued close to 1,800 dog license, had great success on the adoption and rescue and fostering of animals. To further promote public safety, this council approved ordinance 2450 to limit access to all illegal tobacco products and drug paraphernalia. Certainly, this was a controversial item at the Planning Commission level, certainly, but it's something that we were able to put in place. And in short time, our code compliance team had already completed 82 inspections of tobacco and alcohol retailers to ensure compliance with that new law. Our Victorville Fire Department continues to be extremely busy with an annual call volume of more than 25,000 calls now, which is just an insane amount of call. But the majority of these calls continue to be for medical aid. In addition to providing direct service to our residents, this past year, we deployed 21 strike teams to aid allied fire agencies with suppression efforts at various wildfires throughout the state of California. In fact, as we speak, we still have one engine company in support of one of the wildland efforts in Southern California. We also purchased a new 1,800-gallon water tender, enabling us to have a dedicated water source in areas absent a fire hydrant. And so most typically where you'd see something like this is if we got into a wildland firefighting situation, say down in the river bottom, where we needed to be able to access some pretty harsh territory, but also territory that doesn't have fire hydrants. This would serve effectively as a supplemental water supply for engine companies, probably the brush engine most likely, to actually help fight that fire threat. We continue to make progress on our new police station thanks to a $3.7 million grant from the county. We purchased the land and began the design of new station that will include a real-time crime viewing center, incorporating advanced technologies and security for our community. We're envisioning bringing something back to you in terms of concept within the next couple months. This slide is intended to illustrate some traffic enforcement related stats for the month of October and November. We're actually working on, and we'll share with you in the near future, summarized stats for the entire year. But just to give you a thumbnail of some of the priority that we've put into traffic enforcement and what we've seen just over those couple months to promote traffic safety and help influence driving behavior, the Victorville Police Department conducted 10 traffic enforcement operations. These operations alone resulted in 350 citations issued for speed, 347 pedestrian crosswalk violations, and 21 DUI arrests. There's also more stats that go along with that. But these operations are just a snapshot of the traffic enforcement efforts being conducted throughout the year, thanks to added police personnel funded through Measure P. With that, we also have strengthening community connections as another important strategic goal. We have developed a robust communication platform to connect with our residents. One of the things that we've recognized and you've supported is that we have a very diverse community, diverse in the sense that our community receives its information in a multitude of different ways. And so one of our biggest challenges has been how to communicate with them all. So we've actually expanded our communication program to include platforms that do everything possible to inform whomever that's in our community, given the different means in which they actually accept communication. So with that, to illustrate our outreach, our social media pages were viewed 1.4 million times in 2024 alone. We also added a What's the TVV city podcast. So we actually produce our own podcast to enable us to communicate more in depth about complex topics, as well as we've also developed a internal video newsletter news show, I'm sorry, as a part of our efforts to educate employees about all the city is involved with. And so one of the strategies there with the video communications is not only having the podcast for our public, but also similarly, we produce a show that actually summarizes in video format to our employees, in large part, all that we do here as a council. So the actions that we take place, that we undertake here at the council meetings, we communicate that back to the employees so that they're just as familiar from a macro sense what all we're involved in doing and accomplishing as the city. In 2024, we launched our Victorville 101 bus tour, designed to give residents a behind-the-scenes understanding of how our city works. Feedback from the tours was overwhelmingly positive, with 92% of the participants rating the tour as highly valuable. And pre- and post-tour surveys show that participants' positive views of the city increased 20% as a result of the tour. We've also made significant improvements to several parks and community center amenities, including gym floor resurfacing at the Westwind Sports Park, new track lights at Hook Park, and the addition of library kiosk at Sunset Ridge Park. We also added some new shade structures at Brentwood Park. As we know, we broke ground on the new city library. Construction is now underway and will include the remodeling of the Golf Course Pro Shop as well. Currently, we're expecting a project completion before the end of the 2025 calendar year. We hosted a robust series of special events throughout the year that has enabled us to connect with the community members. I think it's important to note that these events only take place because of the dedication of our employees that our employees have in supporting your strategic goal of improving our overall community connectedness. Without our employee support, there's no way possible we would accomplish so many of our community, so much for our community. On the reduced homelessness side of the equation, we made great progress on these goals. In December, we celebrated the 1-year anniversary of our wellness center. In just 1 year of operation, 111 clients graduated to permanent housing, thanks to the supportive services we're offering there at the wellness center. In 2024, we also undertook several initiatives to promote a greener Victorville. A notable initiative was the riverbed cleanup funded through the encampment resolution funds that we spoke about earlier. There we transitioned 91 homeless individuals to the wellness center and removed 91 tons of debris from the riverbed. We also cleared 116 encampments and directly connected 7 veterans with services. On the code side of the house, our code compliance department conducted 2,619 inspections as a part of our newly launched community enhancement program intended to increase quality of life in our neighborhoods. We also successfully launched our organics recycling program. We can all relate to this effort, seeing a third trash barrel as a part of our weekly trash pickup. The success of this program was largely due to a hands-on approach our staff took to providing community education about this program. We also provided tools to help our residents be successful in adjusting to this dramatic change, including the free giveaway of sealable organic containers that can be used in the house to help separate organic waste from the trash or recycling waste we already sort. As a result, our residents helped us divert 10,000 tons of food and green waste from the landfill. On the utility side of the house, Victorville Municipal Utilities enacted its renewable energy plan. There, VEMUS started the new net metering energy program, which promotes solar power use by its customers. VEMUS also added additional wind power to its portfolio of power being ultimately sold, distributed and sold to its customers. In 2024, we continued our efforts to promote a thriving economy in Victorville. We issued 172 new business licenses. We continue to attract major retailers like Sprouts Farmers Market. And we saw the addition of several businesses from the healthcare industry like Pace Center, Desert Ridge Transitional Center, and a few more. We also celebrated SCLA's 30th anniversary and its transformation into the thriving business center following the closure of George Air Force Base 30 years ago. In keeping with this council's priority to support Victorville's existing business, we launched our My Biz NVV and Keep It Local Shop Victorville social media campaigns. In 2024, we also completed several projects to bolster our city infrastructure. Our public works crews worked diligently to sweep our city streets, repair potholes, seal pavement cracks, and cover graffiti. Statistically, and these are always some fun factoids that we like to share, it's pretty amazing just the sheer volume of work, not only including the streets swept being almost 20,000 miles worth, the number of lineal feet of cracks sealed, graffiti covered. That's one service that we probably get the most positive feedback from, because in terms of graffiti response, we have got a great reputation for responding very, very quickly. Ideally within 24 hours is our goal from complaint to actual cleanup. So a tremendous amount of work, again, being done by your public works crews. Bear Valley Road, we completed 3 major project road improvements this year. Bear Valley Road, the bridge widening, 3rd Avenue extension, pavement reconstruction from Amethyst to 395. Those are some of the major road improvement projects that we've seen. And then one of the last slides, VMIS completed the especially important Kern River Interconnect, which is enabling us to offer natural gas service to customers at a rate that's much more attractive than the rate that was previously provided when connected to our previous supplier. And so with that, as you can see, we also had a very productive 2024 calendar year. I'm extremely grateful to you, the City Council, for your direction and support. And I believe we should applaud, of course, the hard work of our dedicated city staff. So with that, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. To staff and everybody who works with Mr. Metzler, thank you very much for what you do on a day-to-day basis. It does not go not unnoticed. Thank you. At this time, Madam Clerk, will you present the agenda and any revisions thereto?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one revision to the agenda this evening for item 16. It's a revised attachment B, consultant professional services provider agreement. The consultant professional services provider agreement dated update, the year was originally 2024, and it is being updated to 2025. It added Section 26, California Public Records Act. Section was revised in original agreement. Additional language conforms to the legal requirements under the California Public Records Act, California Government Code Section 7920 et sec. Revised Section 31, ambiguities, conflicting terms, void. This section was revised to include reference to Exhibit A, as only Exhibit B was originally referenced. Additionally, the parties agreed that any term contained in Exhibit A or Exhibit B that adds to, varies, or conflicts with the terms of the agreement are null and void. Madam Mayor, that concludes the revisions to the agenda this evening.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'm asking council if there's any conflict of interest. Then we will move on. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Victorville City Council. Your City Council is interested in your ideas and opinions and furthermore endeavors to incorporate them into its deliberations. At the same time, the Council must be able to carry out its business in an organized and efficient manner, free from material disruption. Therefore, this meeting will be administered in accordance with the Council's established policies and procedures and Government Code Section 54957.9 and 54957.95. Individuals may speak on agenda items or on issues not posted on the agenda during the public comment section, provided those issues are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Individual speakers may address the Council once per public comment period and once per each public hearing item for up to 3 minutes. Additional time may be allotted for appeal hearings in accordance with the city's adopted policy and procedures manual. Those who desire to comment on a public hearing item may wish to reserve their remarks until that particular public hearing has been opened. All testimony is to be directed solely to the council. Although open meeting laws do not permit council members to engage in dialogue with any speaker during the public comment periods, please know your comments and questions may be taken into consideration by council members when discussing a particular agenda item. The presiding officer may briefly respond or have staff respond to statements or questions, or may request that the staff report back to a council at a subsequent meeting. Speakers are requested to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Once comments are invited, the speaker will be called on by name, then recognized by the presiding officer. The speaker will state the item number that will be addressed or that the subject is a non-agendized matter. Audience members may not disrupt, disturb, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, and those who do are subject to removal from the meeting pursuant to Penal Code 403. Your understanding and cooperation are appreciated. Our first speaker is Catalina Alexandria on a non-agendized item.
Hi, thank you. So I'm here to address, okay. So the city of Victorville here has a PUD. So this is regarding PUD 489 Ordinance 1354, 1989, Section 13, a legal establishment, enactment, and enforcement. My name is Catalina Alexandrescu. I'm a bioenvironmental engineer, United States Air Force, Department of Defense. I'm a disabled veteran and on voluntary status. I purchased a house and reside at 12445 Highgate Avenue, Victorville, California, 92395. In the community in which I reside, unlawful and illegal actions have been taken by a few neighbors in the community against their fellow neighbor and neighbors. Since I've been established in the community and prior to that, these actions are regarding violations of human rights, liberties, and weaponization of local officials and local government, Victorville City Hall administration. Unlawful and illegal establishment, enactment, enforcement by local officials and government. Victorville City Hall administration regarding PUD 489 Ordinance 1354, 1989, Section 13, due to noncompliance of U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The Fair Housing Act, Housing for Older Persons, which states at least 80% of the units must have at least one occupant who is 55 years of age or older, and the facility and/or community must publish and adhere to policies and procedures that demonstrate the intent to operate as a 55 or older housing, and the facility and/or community must comply with HUD's regulatory requirements for age verification of residents. My community does not have and has never had any program and/or governance or homeowners association to properly vet potential seeking to be residents in the community. The developer whose job was to establish a system of accountability such as a HOA never did. The developer simply paid Victorville City Hall to enact into code with the Planning and Development Department, PUD 489, Ordinance 1354, 1989, which includes Section 13 pertaining to property shall be occupied by a resident 55 years of age or older. Myself and multiple other families that are not 55 plus live in this community. We have already been established in the community for some time now. I have been living in the community for 2 years. I didn't find out about my compromised living situation until I went to advocate on behalf of a fellow neighbor that had code enforcement weaponized against them by a few bad apples in the community. This PUD 489 is not a legitimate, legal, and lawful 55 plus community and never has been since this ordinance was put on record with the Planning and Development Department. There is no order, compliance, and accountability. This is why this community was unable to continue solely as a dedicated 55 plus senior.
Your time is up.
Excuse me a minute, do they have your name and number? Our city clerk?
I'm not sure.
We'll need your number if you'd like to approach. Our next speaker is Linda Brown on a non-agendized item.
Hello. Okay.
you're ready for the time. Nice to meet all of you. I wrote down some names so in case later, if they call me, I'll know who I need to address. I've been here for 2 years in Victorville, and I was very surprised that the water department closed for 2 weeks during the Christmas season. I am a owner, get it together here. But I didn't receive a notice to let me know that the water department was closing. And when I came to pay the bill I was supposed to pay it that Friday, I think the 21st or the 20th, and I forgot. So I came Monday and I was surprised that the office was closed. I didn't get a notice. I didn't see the drop box, but when I did come back, because there was a note on the door that said the office was going to reopen, I think it was January 6th. When I came in, there were 59 people, I counted, in the line, approximately 4:15 to pay their bill. I had already missed the deadline as far as dropping it in the box to get the bill recorded for that day. So my suggestion is one that we should be notified. I've lived in Sacramento, various different cities, Riverside, Long Beach, City of Compton, and I've never had the water department to close. And if you guys are going to close, I think we should know as citizens, residents, and my suggestion is, one, the phone system, when I tried to call, it goes straight to busy. And I took a picture of my phone, just says busy. So there was no way to get through to anyone. I have been told that they were open coming in to process payments, but we didn't have anything telling us that. So some people, water was cut off. So my suggestions are that we should have some type of phone system in this day and time that you can put in either your address or your billing number, so that we can have our bill paid with our credit card or our bank accounts and not have to wait that 2-week time period, because you get a late fee if you miss that time period. And it's not that much, but $5 could be a little tank of gas. So that was one of the suggestions that I had. Wow, I kind of want to keep up with the time, but the drop box, there's no notice out front. I didn't know that we had a drop box there. And so I just think we need to do a little
Your
better
time is up.
customer service. Okay, sorry.
Hold on, ma'am. Mr. Metzler, who do we have from customer service that could maybe speak with her reference to paying online?
I'm sorry, our finance director, Ms. Carmen Kuhn, is in the back, and perhaps you can meet her in the back. She can give you her number, and then you guys can chat.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Edith Stinnett on a non-agendized item.
My concern for me, I live here for 20 years. This is my first time being here. I had the same problem that the other lady stated when I came to pay my bill. There was like people like 2 blocks or 3 blocks, something like that. It was a lot of people around Christmas time. And that's not a good sign. I think you guys are not working collectively. I don't know how can I say, but and also I came to pay my bill, and a clerk was telling me that I find out about my bill, and they said, well, we charge the amount of bill, your bill was late. They charge like extra, like 30% or something, or like for 2 months, and I don't remember having a notice or anything like that. You guys do that. That was my first time, and that's a way of do, business for the city in that respect. I was very surprised that the late fees were really bad, like really expensive. So that's what I want to address. This is my first time here, but I will be coming here more often. I don't agree with that. And also the other lady was addressing to like the phone call. You call the city and they take forever to answer the phone. Today I was on the phone with the city and it was like past 5 and they still haven't answered my call. And the other concern that I want to address is to like, I was supposed to be here in the meeting prior to this one. And we showed up and I had to find a babysitter for my grandson because I wanted to be here. But nobody announced anything. There was a lot of people that showed up here and nobody said they was not going to have a meeting prior today. So that's another thing that is very inconsiderate for, we pay taxes and we pay anything we need to pay, but we also would like some consideration. And nobody knew about there was not going to be no meeting, the first meeting of this month. And you can corroborate that information. But we waste gas, we waste our time. We got to find a babysitter for my grandkid, and nobody noticed us. It's like we're the laughing stock. Like our time is not valued. It's not considered. That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
We have no additional speakers, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Our first business of order is items 1 through 13. Yes, ma'am. If there is no questions on the 1 through 13, I'll invite a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt the consent calendar.
Second.
Thank you. I have a first by Councilmember Irvin, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Harriman. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Godam.
Yes.
Councilmember Irving.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman.
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
Thank you. We've now taken action on items 1 through 13 in accordance with the recommendation as set forth on the agenda. We'll now move on to written communications. Item 14, ground lease and development agreement for an 80 acres by and between the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority and Aviation Development Park LLC. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. As you're aware, and as a part of our responsibility in redeveloping and transitioning the former George Air Force Base into what it is today, which is the Southern California Logistics Airport. A big part of what we do is operate and maintain that large facility. And we do so relying on revenues that it generates independent of any other city-related activity. It's responsible effectively for generating revenues sufficient to satisfy all of the expenditures, including capital expenses, without any dependency on city funds. And so with that, one of the largest revenue items on their income statement is in fact lease revenues. And this particular item is dealing with the lease of actual real estate, actual dirt for the ultimate use of providing suitable ground to park aircraft. Aircraft parking is a big part of the business operations out there of a number of companies. And this is a new company that is wanting to help put to better use some of the residual property that we have inside the airfield and put it to productive use by leasing it from the airport authority and ultimately paying for that lease. And so with that, you have a lease agreement with this item for 80 acres of property for a price that's defined in the staff report. The item is authored by your airport director, Mr. Eric Ray, and he's available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
that the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority Board of Directors approve entering into a ground lease and development agreement for 80 acres by and between the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority and Aviation Development Park LLC, and authorize the executive director to execute said agreement and adopt resolution SCLA A25-001, amending the 2024-2025 budget, increasing revenue in airport account 4501191-45220 by $70,044.50.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take technical questions from council member regarding this item. Councilmember Godin?
I have none, thank you.
Councilmember Irving?
No questions, thank you.
Mayor Potem Harriman?
I have none.
And I have none. At this time, I'll invite a motion for this item.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt staff's recommendations.
Second.
I have a first by Councilmember Irving, a second by Councilmember Godin. Are there comments on the pending motion?
I don't have any comments, ma'am.
Councilmember Godin?
I have none, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Potem Harriman?
No comments.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Mayor Potem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
Thank you. We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. We'll move on to item 15, approval of a North American Energy Standard Board-based contract with special provision, NAESB, for the sale and purchase of natural gas with Morgan Stanley Capital Group, Inc. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Out at the Southern California Logistics Airport, we operate our own municipal utility, providing electric and natural gas services to customers locating to that facility. This item is particularly focused with our natural gas business, where we, resulting from having inherited an old natural gas system from the Air Force, we've relied on that older natural gas system basically to provide natural gas to the customers out there, relying on an interconnect with Southwest Gas, and Southwest Gas actually wheeling the commodity that we ultimately distribute and sell to our customers at the airport. As you know, we've been actively involved in making upgrades not only to the distribution system, but we've also been exploring and we've completed a new interconnect with the Kern River natural gas pipeline, a pipeline that principally feeds the High Desert Power Plant, but we were able to work out an arrangement with Kern River to be able to access the vacant capacity or unused capacity in that pipeline. Ultimately, in doing so, being able to build additional improvements that would ultimately allow us to source our natural gas from a different location, reducing our dependency on Southwest Gas. And so with that, we've got all the physical improvements in place to make the new supply connection work. This item deals more so with the actual procurement side of the commodities. And so this council approved a similar agreement back in November, I believe it was, with another entity. And we disclosed then that it was our goal to have two entities working on our behalf to help procure natural gas that ultimately gets sourced from the wellhead and eventually distributed through transmission and in our pipelines. And so it's our goal to have two on board to help get us the best price. We'll definitely work with one that can actually secure the best price for us. And so this NAESB contract effectively is a contract that helps facilitate the procurement of natural gas from the source so that we can ultimately have it delivered through the Kern River pipeline to our customers. And so with that, the item has been authored by your Director of Electric Utility Services, Ms. Brenda Hampton, and she's here and available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council approve the North American Energy Standards Board-based contract, special provisions to the base contract, credit support addendum, and special provisions to the credit support addendum with Morgan Stanley Capital Group, Inc. for natural gas supply and related services, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. and allow the city manager and/or his or her designee to execute transaction confirmations under the NASB contracts for procurement of firm gas supply not to exceed 3.65 million total estimated cost and for terms not to exceed 24 months.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members regarding these items. Councilmember Irving,
I don't have any technical questions, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Godin.
I've already had all my questions answered. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
I have none.
and I have none. At this time, I'll invite a motion for this item.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt staff's recommendations for item 15.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a
Second.
I have a first by Councilmember Irving, second by Councilmember Godin. Councilmember Irving, any comments on?
No comments, ma'am.
Councilmember Godin,
I have none.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
I don't have any, thank you.
and I have none. Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
Thank you. We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 16, contract award for leak detection analysis. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. As you know, as the Water District, we're responsible for the production, storage, and ultimately the delivery of water to approximately 36,000 customers that make up the customer base in the Victorville Water District service territory. Within that territory, we're largely responsible for managing, among other things, and maintaining about 700 miles of transmission, distribution, and service pipeline to provide those services to our residents and our commercial industrial customers. And with that, one of the things that you're likely familiar with is on an annual basis now for several years, as a part of the budgeting process, the Water District has budgeted monies to basically replace the polyethylene or plastic service lines with copper, in large part to provide a stronger material, really with the ultimate intent of reducing the potential risk for a leak, which eventually contributes to water loss if we do have a leak and ultimately a breakage. And so with that, water loss and mitigating water loss is something that the Water District has been focused on for years. This item involves an item that's very interesting to us in that it's actually signing up the use of very specialized technology, relying on satellite technology to effectively do detection of leaks before small leaks become big leaks. And so this is a type of survey technology to help us not only assess the entire system, but also to focus in on areas. And so with that, this item is authored by your Director of Public Works and Water, Mr. Doug Matthews. He's available for questions. We also have a representative from Astera, if you're so interested. Between the two of them, I'm sure they can, and that's Matthias Rodriguez. He's on Zoom. Certainly, they would be available to answer any additional questions and perhaps even speak better to the technology as to what you're going to be purchasing with this contract.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council Board of Directors deem that the services provided by Utilis Inc. operated as Astera as proprietary in nature, thus meeting the requirements of a sole source vendor in accordance with VMC 2.28.100B2, and award a consultant professional services provider agreement with Utilis Inc. operating as Astera for leak detection analysis in an amount not to exceed $166,615.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
I've already had all my questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Godin?
I have none.
Councilmember Irving?
I don't have any questions. No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do have a question, and I'm sorry, Mr. Metzler, I probably should ask you this before, but we're talking leak detection up to the meter only, correct? Which is a responsibility of the city.
That is correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that nothing had changed. The leak detection from the meter towards the house would be the responsibility of the homeowners,
That's
or
correct.
property owners, I'm sorry.
Property
Owners. Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll invite a motion for this item.
Madam Mayor, I recommend that we adopt staff recommendation as presented in the agenda.
Okay,
Second.
we have a first by Councilmember Godian, a second by Mayor Protem Harriman. Councilmember Godian, any comments?
Just that I think this is great, a great way towards conservation, and it's very proactive, so proud of the city for taking this step.
Thank you. Mayor Protem Harriman?
I kind of want to say the same thing. I just like seeing us, moving ahead with technology. I think is a good thing. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Irvin?
I don't have any comments. Thank
And
you.
I have none. Good job. Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote?
Councilmember Godam,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Mayor Protem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
Thank you. We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 17, Building 321 Interior Demolition Construction Agreement, Project CC 25-043. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item involves a building owned by the Airport Authority, off the airport grounds, but within the former boundaries of the George Air Force Base, and more so particularly located on Sabre Street. This is an old facility that actually served as the headquarter facility for the Air Force when they were operational. It's a multi-story, 3-story building, 2 stories above ground, 1 story below ground. And with that, this particular building has been a blight, a safety concern of staff, so much so that recently we've actually relied on airport staff to actually go on site and start mitigating some of the unsafe elements that were being created, in large part by vandals that would actually visit the site. And so with that, we've done an extensive amount of work in terms of cleaning up the exterior. This item actually focuses on further cleanup and eventually conducting demolition on the interior of the facility, largely removing all the interior components, taking the building basically back down to its bones, so that we can eventually get to a state where we can determine whether or not there's structural integrity enough to be able to reuse that building for another purpose, another administrative purpose, or even industrial purpose, or if we'd be better off ultimately demolishing the whole thing, scraping it, and trying to redevelop that site beginning from bare dirt. And so with that, this item has been brought forward by your airport director, Mr. Eric Ray, and he's available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority Board of Directors approve a construction agreement with Vertex Civil LLC for Building 321 Interior Demolition, Project CC 25-043, with the total compensation not to exceed $468,512.26.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilmember Irving?
No, the staff report is straightforward. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Godin?
I have none.
Mayor Protem Harriman?
I have none.
And I have none. At this time, I'll invite a motion for this item. Motion to adopt staff's recommendation.
Second.
I have no comments on the pending motion. Councilmember Irving?
No comments. No, ma'am.
Councilmember Godin?
None, thank you.
Mayor Protem Harriman?
No, thank you. No, I don't.
No. Madam Clerk, could you please take the vote?
Councilmember Godam,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Mayor Protem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
Thank you. Item number 18, Caltrans Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item involves the application for a grant that effectively, if received, if awarded, would actually be used to help offset costs associated with the updating of certain elements found in the general plan, particularly the circulation element and the resources element. This item is brought to you as a procedural requirement. It's also brought to you to disclose that if we are awarded, there in fact is an expectation that we match approximately 11.47% of that award. It's hoped that we receive an award of $700,000. With that being said, if we're awarded that amount, it'd be almost $91,000 in match funding that we would have to come up with. That notwithstanding, those elements do need to be worked on and updated. And so with that, this item has been authored by your city planner, Mr. Alex Hadigi, and he is available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council authorize the city manager or his designee to finalize and complete the Caltrans Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program application as presented, including the adjustment, modification, and or updating of application materials necessary to prepare a competitive application, and authorize the city manager or his designee to apply for and execute all documents deemed necessary to apply for funding provided by the Caltrans Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do questions from council members. Councilmember Godin?
I do. I see that you stated that the program requires the 11.47% match. How do we plan to fulfill that?
Mr. Hadigi, I could guess at it. I think I know, but I'd rather have you answer just to provide the certainty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The match can be addressed with staff time. So in this case, our proposal would be to cover the match with staff time working on the grant.
Thank you.
No other questions? No. Councilmember Irvin?
No questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Alex, that's interesting. I never heard that one. Can you explain that a little better?
Sure, it is unique to us as well. I'm sorry, Madam Mayor and council members. It is unique to us as well that we can match the grant fundings. It notes cash or in-kind contributions, and the definition of that does include city staff time. So we plan to bill hourly staff time that would be working on the grant if we are awarded and successful in receiving the grant, which would then be put in our reimbursement requests to prove that we've made the 11.47% match per reimbursement request.
Is that something new to do it that way?
I do believe that every grant has different standards and requirements, and that was outlined in the grant application.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
And I have done. I was going to say so, but I'll let it go. I'll invite a motion for this item.
I'll move to approve item 18.
Second.
I have a first by Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, a second by Councilmember Godin. Councilmember Harriman, any comments on the pending motion?
I like the way that that's going to work out. That's that's all I have.
Councilmember Godin?
I think it's great that we continue to pursue grants and get them, hopefully.
Thank you. Councilmember Irving?
No comments.
Thank you. And I have done. Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Godin.
Yes.
Councilmember Irving.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman.
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 19, California State Library Grant Fund Acceptance for Zip Book Project. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and members of the council. This item is dealing with a program that actually allows us to basically expand a service to where we're able to more quickly get books to our residents that rely on the library system. books that we may not have on inventory, but we can acquire fairly easily, say, for example, through an Amazon. And so this item effectively allows us to accept the grant funds, which then also allows us to appropriate them as monies coming in or as grant revenues. And so with that, this item is authored by the Community Services Director, Ms. Donna Meester, and she's available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please read the recommendation?
That the Honorable City Council adopt resolution number 25-005 and number 25-006, thereby accepting grant funds from the California State Library, providing the city with $12,198 to aid in the expansion of the Zip Book project, authorize the city manager or his designee to finalize all documents needed to execute the grant contract, and amend the annual budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 to reflect an additional appropriation in the amount of $12,198.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll do technical questions from council members. Councilmember Harriman,
I don't have any, thank you.
Councilmember Godin,
I have none, thank you.
Councilmember Irvin.
Nothing, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. And the only question I have, and I did read, it would start in this fiscal year, so whatever we get, we'll start as soon as we get it? Because I'm reading page 870. Last paragraph.
Project.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Yes, it is for this fiscal year, and we're good at spending quickly.
Okay, I would just want to make sure it isn't for the new library we're waiting to open. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for putting this together. Thank you. At this time, I'll invite a motion for this item.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt staff's recommendations.
Second.
I have a first by Councilmember Irving, a second by Councilmember Godin. Councilmember Irving, any comments on the pending motion?
Kudos to Ms. Meester. I think this is kind of a cool project.
Councilmember Godin?
Yes, great job.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
I have nothing.
And ditto what they said, because they're reading my notes on my papers. I was gonna say that. I'll start covering my paper. Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Godin,
Yes.
Councilmember Irving,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman,
Yes.
Mayor Becerra.
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Jones being absent.
Thank you. We've now taken action to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. Item 20, City Manager reports. Mr. Metzler, you're up again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Just a few items on the animal services side. We'll be hosting a free animal adoption event on Saturday, January 25th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that'll be at our new Animal Care and Adoption Center located on East Street. Animals available for adoption will be available for viewing and to safely play with inside our animal enrichment area. So stop by for free animal adoptions, licensing, and microchipping. On the engineering side of the house, as a part of the Eucalyptus Street Infrastructure Restoration Project, extensive repairs have been completed on the Eucalyptus Street storm drain system and water pipeline. So if you're out that way, check it out. Also work on the 7th Street traffic signal modification project has continued. Our contractors installed new traffic signal poles and conductors at 2 of the 6 locations for this project. Work is expected to be completed in the spring of this year. Then also on the Public Works Environmental Program side of the house, Shred Fest and Compost Giveaway, the first one for 2025, will be held on Saturday, February 1st from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the MRF, which is located off of Abbey Lane. And that's where residents can bring up to 4 20-pound bags or boxes of paper documents to be shredded for free, no charge. We'll also be giving away up to 50 gallons of free compost per household. Just bring your container, truck, whatever, to haul it away. And that's all I have at this time, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 21, discussion and possible action regarding upcoming agenda items. Councilmember Irving?
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Godin?
I have nothing.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
I have nothing.
And I have nothing. Item 22, we're moving right along. Reports from Councilmember. Councilmember Irving?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Councilmember Godin?
Yeah, I had the pleasure to attend the MLK Junior Peace Walk and plaque unveiling yesterday. The mayor and I braved the lovely cool wind to attend. It was a wonderful event. I was really glad and honored to be a part of it. It's really nice to see the community come together in unity. That's all.
Thank you. Mayor Potem Harriman?
I would just like to say, the eucalyptus project, I've gotten phone calls on that and everybody is very happy. That area's waited a long time. So that's all I have.
Can you fill me in? What do we do on eucalyptus?
We did crack seal, the drain system, some storm
Okay.
drains.
Thank you, sir. I was
And
wondering also.
Didn't we seal all the streets in those neighborhoods too? Yeah, so.
Look at you taking care of your area. Thank you very much. And all I have today is I attended VVTA, and for another year, I've been put on the board and put on as board vice chair. So we'll see what VVTA is going to bring forward to us. Thank you, ma'am. If no one has anything else, I'll go ahead and at 7:18 adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Oh, wow. Bob.